Welcome to TLC, where we dive into the heart of our local community, its wineries, restaurants, business, and real estate. I'm Troy Anderson, your host, along with my co-host Pamela, and we're here to bring you a new perspective on what's happening in our community. And this week we have a very special guest.
Looking forward to this one.
Yeah, Cara Anderson-Ahrens, and she's the executive director for the Northshore Schools Foundation. Welcome to the show.
I'm so glad to be here.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time.
It's always a good time.
Yeah.
All right, but before we dig into all things Northshore and your role in that, let's open a bottle of wine. What do you have for us this week, Troy?
Oh my gosh.
This is our Sipping on Success segment. Why is that so hard for me to say today?
Sipping on success?
Sipping on Success, yes.
Well, it's a nice alliteration.
A little bit of a mouthful on a Friday, but yeah. What do we have?
This is Patterson Cellars 2019 Malbec. And this is a club-only wine, I'm told.
Oh.
So it's a special wine, and it's 100% Malbec. So.
Okay. So, particular reason why you chose this one, this winery?
I haven't had Patterson on this. We haven't had Patterson on the show. Whoops. As I spill wine all down the glass.
Don't waste it.
I know it's a club wine.
Wine abuse right there.
Well, from what I'm seeing, it's got a really deep purple hue to it, which is interesting because every week they look different. So,
yeah.
You know, last week when we recorded, there was that brick feel to the edge of the wine.
Right.
This one is definitely purple, like that
This
real
is
Concord
really,
grape kind of
yeah,
look to
dark.
it.
Yeah, and it has a great bouquet.
Yeah, it smells good.
I
I
can't
like
believe I'm
that.
saying that.
Wait,
But it
was your
really
pinky in
does.
the air? Bouquet.
I like that. Okay, so
Malbec is a grape that's typically grown in Argentina. Does well down there, but so you don't have a lot of it produced here in Washington. And
Right.
Patterson is one of the ones that does it and does it well, I think. It's from the Seven Hills Vineyard, Scootney Flats.
ooh,
Sugarloaf and Quintessence. Quintessence is a really high-end vineyard. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what, yeah.
okay.
Over in Eastern Washington.
What
So,
was the sugarloaf thing? That caught my attention. You said sugarloaf?
yeah, Sugarloaf is also a vineyard over there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All
that's
right,
just
great.
the name of them.
Mm-hmm. All right,
So-
well, has anybody had a chance to
I
take
haven't
a
had
sip
it
yet?
yet.
I've had a little smell in my glass. And you're right, the bouquet of it is lovely. It's really soft.
It
You know,
is.
sometimes when you first open a bottle of wine and you do kind of pop your nose in the glass and you get the kind of alcoholic vapors from
Right,
it.
right.
And it kind of hits you. This doesn't
Punches
have
you in the
that.
face.
Yeah, I mean, consider we literally just opened the bottle of wine, you would expect some of that, but it doesn't have that at all. Or at least I'm not finding it soft.
And, well, the color made me think it was going to give that kind of hit on
Yeah.
your nose, right? Because it's so deep colors, you expect to have kind of a punch to it. And I love that you said it was soft because drinking it too, it kind of just goes, it smoothly goes down and kind of tickles. Yeah.
It kind of
Okay.
tickles. I
You
like
tickle-
that.
Well, I haven't
It-
had a sip yet.
This wine hits me in the back of the mouth, or the back of the palate. for
Oh,
sure.
it does?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
I agree.
give us a little bit more kind of description or detail on that. What do you mean when you say it hits you in the back of the palate? I'm going to say
Well,
palate rather than the throat because that sounds like someone
I
punched
know.
you in the throat.
Get these wine terms down. Come on, Pam. Just when different wines have different flavors when you take them in your mouth and the way it feels. So just kind of towards the back of the roof of my mouth is where I taste the wine quite a bit.
Yeah.
And then down the throat, it's like soothing.
Yeah. Again, I mean, the only way I can describe it is a softness to it.
Yeah, real soft.
You know, it's light. For a Malbec, actually, it's really light. I was expecting something a little... Syrupy is probably the wrong word, but you know when you
I
feel
was going to
that
say
kind
cough syrup, but I don't think you can describe wine as cough
No,
syrup.
I wouldn't. That's
Yeah.
not very flattering.
Well, I don't think Malbec's being that sweet either, right? So heavier may be where you're looking at, where
Yeah.
it's like, you know, this is not rich, but you're thinking about something in a Malbec that's really super
Yeah, that
rich.
kind of thickness to it, if you like. And this isn't that. I mean, flavor-wise, it is.
It's
but
very
like
rich,
the
yeah.
kind of the feel in the mouth feel, I guess.
Okay.
Mouthfeel,
It's lighter. Flavor-wise, I'm getting some currants.
Yep,
Like
definitely
tart
currants.
red currants, which is usually really hard to kind of pick out in a wine, or at least I find it is. I have, you know, the kind of the plums and the blackberries are cherries are really easy to denote, I think. But this one for me, just that's the first thing I tasted, which is it's nice. Which I don't know if that's normal for a Malbec.
No, Malbecs, they're not necessarily my favorites. They're good for blending, but
Okay.
100% Malbec, this is a really, really good wine.
I should.
I'm
hope
not
so.
just saying that.
I should hope so, as it's a club one.
Yeah.
No, it lives up to its club status.
Yeah.
It's really
absolutely.
Nice.
And so let's just talk about the legs on this one for a moment, the viscosity, because I'm looking across the table
Yeah.
at yours, and I'm definitely seeing that on both your glasses. Is that kind of what you would expect to find with a Malbec?
Yeah.
Troy's kind of a a wine connoisseur.
I'm getting
Sort
that
of,
idea. How
sort of,
fabulous.
I don't know if it's vindicative of Malbecs or not, but this one definitely has some a bigger mouthfeel and more viscosity to it. So it's going to get the thicker legs on your
Yeah.
glass.
I just love the ruby kind of hue to it.
Yeah,
Like
it's a good
when
looking
you first
wine.
poured it, it had that kind of bubbly, kind of purple feel to it. And
Mhm.
now that it's sitting in the glass, and I'm kind of looking at it and like it does have a little bit of a ruby feel to it.
Our table's white, so you just
Yeah,
put
I
it down
know.
against the table. You can really see
That's
it.
a lot of descriptions of one bottle of wine for,
Yeah.
for one day. I think this is a great bottle. I probably would not have thought to go to Patterson's for a Malbec because, like you said, they're challenging to come by in this
Yeah.
area for a local wine because we like to feature as local as we possibly
Yeah.
can.
And John Patterson is he's kind of a legend around here. A lot of the wineries.
He's the OG.
A lot of the wineries that are in the area, they apprenticed under John, and so he likes to teach other winemakers. And you can find him pretty much anywhere. He's got a tasting room in the Hollywood School District there.
Yep.
He's got one in the Warehouse District, in Seattle, Leavenworth, and Walla Walla.
Wow. Okay.
So
I think we've talked to a couple of winemakers on this show, and his name does pop up consistently.
yeah.
And it's one thing that I kind of really appreciate about the winemakers in this area is they all seem to want to kind of share kind of knowledge and help other people coming up through the ranks of the wine industry to really make sure that this is a really a vibrant wine community. And I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
and everyone makes wine a little differently.
Yeah.
So
well, as we
there's-
found out on the show.
It's not really competition, right?
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's room for everybody. How many do we have here?
130 some
I know.
tasting rooms.
How cool is that, though, really, when you think about it? For just this little, our little slice of Washington.
Yeah, it's
That's
the
a
Napa
lot.
Valley of Washington.
Absolutely.
All
All right, well, we will continue to enjoy this gorgeous glass of wine as we continue with the show, but we're going to take a really quick break, and when we come back, we are going to talk all things Northshore Schools
I'm
Foundation.
excited to hear about this.
Yeah.
I know, me too.
Yeah,
Especially as Cara is the new executive director, so, we've got lots to talk about. All right, stay
Yeah.
tuned. We'll be right back after this very short break.
This podcast is brought to you by JB Family Growers. If you're in the market for a new home or looking to sell your current one, 10 Home Team is here to help. As community-focused real estate agents, we are dedicated to providing personalized service and support throughout the entire process. Whether you're a first-time home buyer or a seasoned pro, we've got you covered. Let us take the stress out of your real estate journey. Contact us today at 10 Home Team and learn more about our services. Welcome back to TLC 10 Life Community Podcast. And we are going to dive into all things Northshore Schools Foundation with Cara. So starting with the foundation, it's been in existence since 1995, so 28 years.
It's a long time.
Yeah, and they've granted access to an excess of $3.6 million to schools. That's a lot of money.
It is, and it's more now than it was when the stat was fresh.
I'm reading old stats.
Not super old, but
Well,
maybe a year old.
You're continually
Yeah,
giving.
right. That's was my point. Is
Yeah.
that we you're always handing out.
Cool.
We just did 2 rounds of grants. One that came out, 19 of them that went out last week. So
Nice. That's a lot of work doing grants.
It's joyful work though,
Yeah.
because the things that come back, right? The pictures that come back, the
right.
teachers that give you
The lives you're changing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get a view into their classroom. which is really exciting.
That is exciting.
So, I mean, maybe a lot of our listeners in the community know about the foundation or even have been impacted by it. Can you share what, kind of the motivation around it and the mission and
Sure.
how it supports?
Yeah. So one of the things that I wanted to mention, I was thinking about this and before coming on the podcast, is that really I didn't know very much about Schools Foundation. So I've been in education a long, long time. I've actually worked my way backwards. So I started out teaching high school,
Okay.
and then I went to teach elementary school, and then I taught early childhood. So
Oh, wow.
That got harder as you went, right?
I don't know.
yes.
Starting with the teenagers, maybe not.
just in different ways.
In different ways.
Besides, I think really there is a lot to be. It let me see that there's a lot similar between a 3-year-old and a 13-year-old and a 17-year-old.
As parents, we know.
So I didn't know how many schools foundations there are. So
Okay.
most, I can't say 100%, but I would say from doing a little tiny bit of research that most school districts in Washington State have a schools foundation. Whether it's called the Schools Foundation or it's called Education Foundation, that's, it makes the school district a little more flexible.
Okay.
And when I say it makes the school district more flexible, we're not, and none of the schools foundations are connected directly to the school. So
Right.
we are separate nonprofit entities that work with, our mission is about the school district and the
Gotcha.
schools and the kids who are in those schools. And the reason that they exist, I think, is because of the unique way that we fund education in the United States.
Right.
If we could say that we fully funded every single school and every district to, what the district would say would be their capacity, we would need schools foundations.
Gotcha.
But we don't, and we, use property taxes and many other kinds of pieces to fund to fund school districts. So schools foundations have grown up around that to be a nonprofit fundraising partner.
Okay.
For
Bridging the
school
little gap.
districts.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what I was going to say too, bridging the gap between.
Yeah, and there are 640 of us nationwide that are part of a national education foundation.
Wow, 640. That's pretty astounding, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you think about it, that there's that much of a need in education.
Right.
But I like hearing the stories of what Northshore Schools Foundation is doing for the community here in the general Woodinville, Bothell area.
Yeah, happy to talk about that more. I would say, one of the things that I'm really proud to have learned, because of course, I came on in September, we're now here in December, and so I'm really still in my learning phase about all the things we've done in over 28 years. And but one of the things I am super excited about is that right before the pandemic, the foundation did a survey, a comprehensive kind of look and listen to the community to say, what are the things that are on your heart? What are the things that you would like to see that you don't feel students are being, the needs that are coming out of? So not to rag on whether the school district is providing great education or not. That was not the question. The question is, where are the gaps that you see as parents, as community members? And the overwhelming response was, we want to make sure that kids coming out of high school have skills that they can use to be great adults. And it's interesting too, because of course that shouldn't be all up to the school, right?
Right, right.
No, absolutely.
I have an 11-year-old.
Yeah.
I'm going to allow him to make his own mac and cheese, as scary as that is, because he needs to.
He needs to learn how to do that.
Right, But so that's where our Build Skills for Life pillar has come from, and we're just really. Yesterday, I went to on a tour with SAS students, so Secondary Academy for Success. Their senior class went.
That's up on West Hill, right?
Maybe, yes.
Okay.
Don't listen to me. I'm new in the area.
That's going to be a tag. I'm new.
Three for
But it's not very far from the district office.
Gotcha.
And we went down to McKinstry in Seattle and
cool.
did a tour of their metal fabricating workshop, of their innovation center, just a really comprehensive tour of what a company like that can offer students right after graduation.
Right.
And part of the reason we were there is because McKinstry is a great supporter of the foundation, and then some of the money they give goes straight back into the Friday programming that SAS does called No Desks Allowed.
Okay.
So it was a really great, conversation between, three different pieces all working together, the school, the community,
Cool.
McKinstry,
Yeah.
and then the foundation to really bring students experiences that help them envision what they might want to do after high
Right,
school.
because not everybody is destined for college, whether it's because they don't, they learn differently, or it's just not in their life plan, or it doesn't appeal. There needs to be something different for people to be offered, right? And showing an insight on what that looks like, I think, is a great thing.
Yeah. Well, and it's something too that we were talking about yesterday, and it occurred to me, I think so much, I remember feeling this way as a high school student. What if I make the wrong choice?
Yeah.
And being
How do
able
you know when you're that age?
and that's the thing. I think we can say to them credibly, there are no wrong choices, really. I mean, socially perhaps, but with jobs and things,
Yeah.
Experiences get you an amazing world of experience.
Yeah.
So, but if that suddenly has got a $15,000, a $20,000, a $25,000 price tag on it, then you feel like there's so much more at stake, and you can have the wrong choice.
Yes.
And so being able to just give students a variety of things so that they go, okay, well, maybe I will be college bound at some point.
Right, but for right now, I'm not going to make that financial misstep. I'm
Right.
going to take this path that can lead me elsewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's pretty smart.
That's cool.
I didn't realize you guys did that.
Yeah, it's something, I mean, the grants are the oldest things we do. The classroom and district grants have been around since the founding of our foundation. We moved into removing barriers, which is, I think, what most people know us for.
Yeah, that's what I know you.
And then building skills for life is
Okay.
our most recent pillar. And again, it's taken from not only what we see, but also we want to be responsive. We want to be flexible. We want to serve not just the school district, but the community who funds us.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's
sense.
smart. Yeah, that's great. Well, I know you've been the executive director for a short period of time. I think we were talking about this yesterday. Is it 60 days?
No, I was right. It is 90 days.
It was not. Okay, we had a conversation yesterday
should
at
have it all
breakfast,
figured
and
out by
she was
now.
just like, she thought it was 90, and then she said, no, it's 60. But great,
Right.
90. That's great. You've got an extra 30 days of experience. So we're expecting a lot. No, I'm kidding. But as the new executive director, you're at the helm of this really impactful and really truly wonderful foundation. What exciting projects or initiatives are on the horizon for the foundation? It might be a little early to ask that, but I'm sure, having spoken to you, you've got ideas, you've got things that you're planning. But particularly for this coming year, what will be significantly, what are those things that might significantly benefit the North Shore community?
Oh, absolutely. I love it. And I maybe, we'll have to see if it comes back to bite me. Because I'm going to talk about a conversation that kind of started just even yesterday.
Okay.
But what we've been really thrilled about is to see that not only, 2020 or whenever we decided that the new Build Skills for Life pillar was going to be part of the foundational work that we're doing going forward. We've just, in the last week, 2 weeks, have been having more and more conversations with business. And one of the beautiful things, I wasn't able to be at the last Bothell Business Forum, but we heard from Sandra Lee, who is, of course, the Bothell Chamber.
I'm excited about her.
Yeah, she's been around.
Yeah, she
For a long
was
time. She
wouldn't
knows
go
this
wine
community
country
well.
forever.
She's a ball of energy.
Yeah, she's gonna do great things for Bothell Kenmore.
Absolutely. And so she came up to both Emily and I at the Woodinville Bothell Chamber breakfast yesterday and said, we were having a discussion. Some businesses were saying they really wanted to be able to connect with students, do more apprenticeships, do more job shadows, those kinds of things, and how do we
That's
get...
a great idea.
Yeah.
And so, because I have been trying to be really active with the chambers since I was, I've come on as the new executive director, I was thrilled that clearly I'm making an impression, because somebody in the room said, "Oh, we need to talk to the Northshore Schools Foundation."
Yeah.
And yes. And so Sandra was like, "Do you want to be part of figuring out what this is going forward? How?" And I think we're poised really well to be able to help that, because we have connections with schools. We have deep relationships with schools. We also have the capacity to funnel funds. You know, one of the things that is wonderful about a schools foundation is that we kind of take the tax burden away and other things like that. So we're working on doing a fiscal partnership with perhaps a rowing club for, maybe it's Woodinville High School.
Really? Okay.
Because they want to build a new launch.
Okay.
Or they found it. But of course, if they're going to do a fundraiser, they don't have the fundraising mechanism.
Right.
But what they can do is we can hold that money for them.
Gotcha.
And then when they're ready to...
earmark it for that program.
Right, and we write the check. And so
Gotcha.
it becomes... We do that for Woodinville Car Club.
Okay.
We do that for quite a number of... I think Woodinville Car Club is the only we're the fiscal sponsor for that's not an education program.
Okay.
Right.
So we're kind of ideally poised to be set up to help those kinds of things, and I'm thinking that we can use that with the
That kind of makes me think,
apprenticeship
how the community, the Woodinville Car Club, and even any other community members can get more involved and engaged with your endeavors and initiatives.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think that we really want to hear from people. I think one of the things that's a great opportunity for being new. My predecessor was here for 13 years, and she built what I've stepped into, which is amazing, right? And I think the one thing that I have an opportunity that's hard to do when you're in the middle of building something is I get to come in with a fresh perspective
Right.
and say, okay, I'm here to listen, and I'm here to learn, and how do you want to be involved with the Northshore Schools Foundation? We absolutely have ideas.
Yeah.
So if you come to us and say, hey, where are your volunteer ideas? We will definitely put you to work. It's not that. But I think, too, we also want to know what we're not seeing.
Okay.
Right.
And where are those, like, having Sandra come and say, we're seeing this. This is a conversation we're having. Do you want to be part of the conversation? And so often the answer is going to be yes.
Right. So if there's companies out there that are listening and they've got an idea, they should just kind of connect with you and say, okay, this is what we're thinking. And even if it's part of this apprenticeship program. I mean, I know it's in its infancy. It's just an idea right now, but I love that idea.
Yeah, me too.
Apprenticeships is something.
I would take an apprentice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in the UK, apprenticeships is sorry to kind of go off track, but it's a big thing. More
Really?
people do apprenticeships than go to college, which there's nothing wrong with going to college, but it's not for everybody. But I don't know that it's talked about quite as much here. So having that conversation be something that's being put out there, and that other companies in our community can help grow the community through the schools and those kids that are coming through, I think is ideal.
Yeah, I know, I agree. And the other thing that you get out of apprenticeships is kind of the conversation around what skills, if I want to go into this area for work, what skills do I need?
Right.
Yeah.
And so often I think young people don't know who to ask. And when you go to college, you have a ready-made pool of other people who are talking about that,
Yeah.
and professors and things where you have somebody to get advice from. And if you're not going on that track, where are the groups of people who are having those same conversations that you can glean?
Well, I think apprenticeship is great because you get to try it on before you buy it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you like when I got into real estate, the actual amount of work that we do in real estate is very little. It's all about building relationships with people and stuff like that versus the actual houses themselves. The houses themselves are easy. They're a process typically. So yeah, I mean, it's getting into different careers. It seems like an apprenticeship would be a far better way to do that before you go spend a bunch of money on
Mm-hmm.
college. And
No.
if you love it, then yeah, jump right into it.
Yeah, and if not, you've tried it and you can find something else. Maybe it will guide you in the right direction. But,
For sure.
I mean, obviously the apprenticeship's not the only thing that you guys will be doing, and I think if if there are companies out there listening that maybe want to contribute, and maybe obviously fundraising is always a big thing, right? Maybe physical funds aren't necessarily in somebody's budget right now, but there are other ways that companies can connect with you and ask, how can we help? How can we be of service? How can we help benefit? Of course, if you have money to spare, then please give it to the school, Northshore Schools Foundation.
Yes,
They'll
please.
take it because you do such great work. But thinking kind of long term, what the foundation's broader long term goals are. How do you see the organisation growing and adapting to meet the evolving needs of the community in the next 5 or 10 years? Because as we've seen over recent years, things can change so easily.
Sure.
And I mean, not even when
Pandemics can happen.
Yeah, well, not even when yes, they do, but like just society changes. Kind of there's all these shifts that can happen within a community. What are your long-term goals to kind of keep evolving with what's going to happen?
I think it's a great question and something I've just begun to chew on,
Mm-hmm.
because you're gonna have to learn what we've got before we know where we're gonna go.
Yeah.
At the same time, I think one of the things that happens in a lot of nonprofits is, and I've worked in, that's where my background is, even though I'm a trained educator and but I've chosen to work in nonprofits since I moved to Seattle. And you start small and scrappy, and it's hard. And maybe you as entrepreneurs know this feeling. When do you decide you always want to be agile? You always want to be fluid.
Yeah.
But to stop thinking of yourself as scrappy and start thinking of yourself as grown up, and I think that's sometimes takes a mental shift of, and so we're not a flash in the pan. We've been here 28 years.
Yeah.
But my hope is for us to feel like we are a household name. That, whether or not everybody knows exactly what we fund, that most families in the Northshore Schools District know the name, the Northshore Schools Foundation.
Yeah.
That's my goal. I mean, and everything else kind of flows from there. Partnerships and collaborations flows from there. Hopefully, fundraising. If people if companies feel like they know what they're getting, right? You want to back a horse that is winning, and we definitely have been winning. But I think it's now time to stop just doing the work, doing good work and hoping people notice. And I really want to be the person who says, hey, look at us. We are fabulous. If you didn't know, you better come and talk to me right now.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's funny for me because I'm a Midwestern, so I grew up in Nebraska.
Oh.
And so, and I was an actor for a long time and
Really?
a theater producer.
Wow.
And it was so hard for me to sell myself because I'm a Midwesterner. But I learned I have no problem selling something I believe in.
Sure.
So it's not me that I'm going out and
No.
stumping for. It's the foundation, and the foundation does amazing stuff. And so I have no problem being like, let's toot our own horn.
But now you are the foundation.
I am.
Yeah.
So-
Because she's at the helm.
What are some of the things? I know you do the backpacks thing because we donate our truck for that. And that's in the fall every year? Or
Yeah,
or the
August.
spring? August.
Right, so
Okay,
that
yeah.
we're getting
So you have
students
everything ready
ready.
for the school year. Okay.
Yeah, so
That's a pretty big program. There's a lot of
it
backpacks
is.
that are collected.
Yeah, we
right?
gave 800 away
Oh my
last
gosh.
year, which is 100 more than we had been asked before.
That's a lot.
The cool thing about what we do versus what some other foundations do or other nonprofits who give away backpacks, we give them away we don't ever want to turn anyone away. So anyone can have a backpack. That is absolutely great, backpack full of supplies. However, we do want to make sure that we are hitting the families with the greatest amount of need.
Right.
And the furthest away from educational justice. And how we do that is through our care team liaisons at the schools. So families are invited. You can get a hold of us, and anybody listening to this and said, oh, I'm going to need some help getting my kids supplied for school. Great. You can email us, you can call us, you can whatever. But you can also find talk to the care team liaison at your
At the school.
and they will, kind of put you on the list, because you have to be on the list in order to get a backpack.
Gotcha.
Right.
And that helps us just to do a tiny bit of quality control
Sure.
to make sure that, because the danger is, right, that people who have easy access to transportation, easy access to media and those kinds of things where we're going to advertise the backpack, that that they come and they take the first available backpacks, and the people who need to figure out how to get there,
Yeah.
and how, or have to hear about it from a friend, then would not be on the list. So this way, the families they let us know that they would like to be on the list, and then we personally invite them,
Right.
and then we remind them that it's coming up, and to come and visit. So it's a really cool way to just make sure that we are doing what we can.
Yeah. So those that are in most need first.
Right.
That's not to say other people aren't.
Right.
But you want to make sure they get those in the hands of those kids, that it's actually going to impact more
Right.
in a positive way, or adversely for if they don't have the backpack.
Sure.
How does that make them feel when they go to school when they don't have those resources that everybody else has? So. I think you guys do more than just the backpacks, but if anybody wants to get involved in helping to increase the number of backpacks or fill those backpacks, is it just a backpack? Is it the contents? Because obviously I've had kids in the school, Northshore Schools Foundation, you get your list every year and you've got to go and fill those backpacks for them for the schools. So how can the community get involved in helping to increase or fill up?
I'm so glad you asked that question, because I think one of the things that I learned from Heather Erickson, who has been our fantastic Removing Barriers program manager for 5 years now.
Yeah, she's great.
Is that backpacks are what we need. We do fill them full of supplies, but so we had an amazing donation come in of supplies a couple years ago. But they weren't high quality supplies.
Okay.
And so we did not put them in the backpacks. So we so acknowledged that, that was a beautiful, beautiful contribution. But we want to make sure that that the crayons are not going to break the second day,
Right.
or that the backpacks are sturdy enough to put heavy books in and those kinds of things. So we do a lot of quality control around that, because we don't want to add insult to injury.
Right.
You have asked for help. We've given it to you, but it's been sub-grade help.
Right.
Right.
Now it's a problem.
Right. So
and you're halfway through the year and that bag's no longer usable,
Right.
and then what do these families do? So yeah, I get that.
So we definitely will. We need an army of volunteers in August to do this. We could absolutely use volunteers all through the summer to get ready for backpacks.
You still do the red totes for the businesses?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So we will still do that, and we're gonna say if you can buy Costco backpacks, that would be awesome, because they are usually high quality.
We used to buy one every year, I think.
But we also would because we want to make sure that we are purchasing great supplies, we will take, you think about $100 check, we'll buy 4 backpacks.
Okay.
So that is a great way too. We don't want to say money is the only thing, but the nice thing about that is it really gives us the ability to make sure that kids are getting great quality.
Yeah, you can choose those items that are going to best serve the recipients.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So, we're talking about how people can help. So partnerships and collaborations are instrumental in achieving your collective goals. Can you share some collaborations or partnerships the Foundations has fostered or plans to develop local businesses, schools, and other community organizations to further
Absolutely.
further your mission in general?
Yeah, I would say I'm going to give a shout out to Northshore Skills, because I've been talking with Kevin Barnett since I met him at the Bothell Chamber.
Oh, cool.
And we've been trying to. They run a leadership business where they do training.
Okay.
And he said, super passionate about leadership, student leadership, and how we give students the opportunity to lead, especially those, again, who maybe don't have the example of their parents, being on different committees or those kind of things, so don't know what that looks like. And he and I are still trying to figure out what that looks like is the best fit for his company. But he did come with me to tour Bear Creek.
Okay.
So Bear Creek is the campus that houses the online learning, the Northshore. I'm gonna get it wrong. Anyway, the Northshore Partnership, I think it is,
Okay.
which is the is like a homeschool,
Like a homeschool
option.
Okay.
group.
And then, so the way Brian, the principal, has helped me do the difference between there's one group. I should have written this down. I didn't write it down. That's
okay.
the
People can call you and find
Yeah.
out for more information.
yeah, but there's the homeschool group, right? So they're coming to Bear Creek for extracurricular activities
Right.
and for socialization. And then there is another group of students who are coming for their core subjects, but have personal struggles. There's things they need to work.
Mm-hmm.
And so they need to make school go work around their work schedule or different kinds of things that are in the way, but they still need to, they're still slogging through to get their education. Mm-hmm. And so they come for the core. So there's like kind of part-time or alternative school models. And it was really cool to see how North Shore is adapting for different types of students who have different personal circumstances or family values that a traditional classroom just does not seem to work for them.
Yeah.
And so just thinking that those are great places for leadership to really build, and for North Star to maybe get in there and build something with those students.
Yeah.
Now, is he the one that spoke at the meeting? Kevin?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah. Nice
Cool.
guy. I saw
Yeah,
it.
very nice. Yeah.
Yeah. That's super cool.
So it's
Yeah.
those kinds of relationships that where I think we start a conversation and we don't really know where it's going to go, and then giving ourselves some time and getting to know each other will give me a time to get to know the community.
Yeah.
Things might go faster, but I think right now just being able to say, okay, we want to be involved. What does that look like?
Yeah.
And I think that's exciting.
And I think you don't always want to jump in feet first and just say, I'm going to do this, we're going to do that. You need to take that time and really think about what's going to best serve the community you're trying to help, rather than just doing everything all at once.
Right.
So I
and
think
a one size fits all is not helpful for anybody.
No, it's not.
And what I'm hoping to do too, I think there are, like for example, there's something called Link that's happened that is something the school district adopted several years ago, that connects incoming freshmen in high school with juniors and seniors. They can have kind of a buddy.
Cool.
For
Yeah.
the first year, especially you're going from middle school to a high school, which
Yeah.
is so much bigger. And how do you swim?
Yeah.
And so, I think that relationship first is, where are my classes? If I have to change my schedule, where do I go? Which counselor do I talk to? But you'd hope it could go a little deeper. And that definitely is a leadership piece for those juniors and seniors.
Yeah.
So they have that, and it also it's district-wide, which is something that, we want to be able, I've been talking a lot about all our alternative programs, but we really want to show up for every school in the district. And so something like that, where we can connect North Star into that program to really boost it, or make sure that it has ongoing funding, or make sure, because I think the hard piece is things like that can get cut in hard budget times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you want to make sure to say the things that we've said are important, mental health and leadership and all of those things that nobody is saying are not important anymore. Yeah. if you can't fund it all, where do you make those decisions? And then having the foundation, we can't step into everything. We are not
Sure.
Flush with money.
Right.
But we can build partnerships that make the district more resilient.
Yeah, I think that's smart. That is very smart. You talked about this a little bit already, where you talked about the kind of survey that you sent out to the community, asking, you know, where the needs were. But how's the foundation going to stay adaptable and innovative in its approach to supporting the community? The survey was one way, but are there new strategies or approaches being considered? I mean, I know you're new to the job, but so it's a little bit of a, you know, I'm asking a question you maybe can't answer, but
so you have me back on in 6 months and we'll talk about it.
But I'm sure that you know there have been things that have kind of banded around. But how's the foundation going to ensure that it remains effective and responsive to the community needs? I'm sure you have some great ideas, even if they're not in place yet. But
yeah, I think one of the things is I want to really double down on our care teams. So this is something that, again, is unique to the Northshore Schools Foundation. We have volunteer school district employees at, right now, 33 out of 35 schools.
Okay.
Who they get a tiny stipend from us for the year, saying we thank you and appreciate you so much. But they're not doing it for that.
no.
Do they help identify needs then?
They do. Okay. So they are counselors, they are school nurses, they are paraeducators, they are office managers. It could be an English teacher. It does not matter. You know, it could be one of the janitorial staff. Somebody who's already kind of got that eye on kids.
Yeah.
You know, usually it ends up being somebody who's in the office or who's in a caregiving role already, like a nurse or a counselor, because they have access to all the students.
Right.
But what they provide for us is an eye into the school, into those needs, into the families, and what's going on. We provide them with care funds. So across the district, we usually spend per year about $100,000 in care funds that go out that are identified by these care team liaisons.
Okay.
So that means if they see a student who needs some assistance, or they know what that student's family situation is, they can recommend that they get a gift card, so they know that they are struggling for food. They can get a gift card for Fred Meyer or Safeway for $200. We send the family that gift card because money cannot be given directly to families from schools.
Gotcha.
Right.
Sometimes the family needs the help, so the mom will come in and say, we also give a number of, you're going on a science trip, right? There's a rocketry club, and everyone's going to nationals, but this family does not have the capacity to send their student to nationals to stay in a hotel because, you know, the school will take care of certain parts, but the part the family needs to take care of, that family does not have the capacity. We will step in and make sure that that student can stay in a hotel, and so that they can fully participate in education. So we want it to be both. It's all about fully participating in education. If you don't have shoes that are waterproof and it's raining like cats and dogs, you know, how do you come to school ready to learn?
Yeah.
If you don't have, so we can't. I mean, it's a small amount of money per student, so it's really not life-changing. It's not about life-changing. It's about giving a breath.
You know, you say it's not life-changing, but I bet for those families it is, right?
In that moment.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like a lot maybe to those people listening, but when you don't have a pair of shoes and that's the biggest thing on your mind is how do I get to school, of course that's life-changing for them. And I think it really is worth highlighting that the Northshore Schools Foundation isn't just about the backpacks, right? That's a huge component, but it's all of those things that we don't see that
it's
those kids.
All the behind the scenes stuff that we don't see. The behind the scenes
kids, how, you know, like you said, you know, fueling up somebody's car so they can get their kids to school if they're out, you know, a ways to go, or food in their belly so the kids can concentrate in school, because that's a huge need. And I think we we forget, because we live in a somewhat affluent area, or at least it seems affluent, that there are people that are struggling, and they need just a little bit of help and support, and it means the world to them, and could feel insignificant to somebody else, but it's life-changing for them. So I just want, let's not say that it's not life-changing.
Okay,
I think it is.
I appreciate that. Well,
She's scolding you.
Well, no, not intentionally. I just want you to. I want people to understand that it's a huge deal,
It
and
is.
you're saying it's not life-changing because you're in it and it's natural.
because
But
we'd like to spend much more on each
Yeah.
student.
Right, and so when you say it's a small amount of money, it's huge to somebody else. So I'm not scolding.
Thank you,
I'm just like everything you're doing is worthwhile and it's amazing, and I just want give you kudos to the
Thank
Northshore
you.
Schools Foundation.
I think it's just so amazing because that's how we remain adaptable.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the things that we learn about what a population needs is from those care teams. They're on the ground, and they're talking to us every week. It's a beautiful partnership.
Yeah.
And I love the fact too that a family who doesn't exactly know where to go, they're all connected to their school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, so that should be there on the ground, to help that.
And I'm sure it's anonymous and discreet as well, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, we've
Makes-
Heather really guards all of that information
That's
of
good.
those families.
That's good.
Families a lot. So what I like to say is that the teachers get a peace of mind as well. I think that I've been a teacher who watches kids struggle or watches them not try for things because they don't know if they did get to go to the science camp, would they be able to afford it, and so they
Right.
just don't.
Is it actually going to happen fully?
Yeah.
Yeah, they can have all of that ability, but they're squashing it down because it's like at the end of the day, can I go? Can I do this? Is it for me?
I don't want to get my hopes up and then get crushed.
Yeah,
How
disappointment's
sad is
terrible.
that? Yeah.
And not then know and not feel like well, I can't take the money out of my pocket every time. And so what I'd like to say, what I've been starting to say is that the teachers are really identifying the need. We just want to be the $200 in their back pocket,
Yeah.
so that they go home and sleep at night thinking
Yeah.
that they did what they could, which is more than they could have done before.
Yeah, because let's be honest, many teachers do use funds from their own personal accounts to help, whether it's, supplies that the kids don't have, or, whatever that looks like. Many teachers do that. It's good that they have a support system for that too.
That's really what I think I want to just, like I said, double down on. Meaning, so we've been really lucky the last few years. The Santa Rotary Breakfast happened a couple weeks ago, and so we, the invitations to the Santa Rotary, or the Rotary Santa Breakfast, however you want to
Santa
say it.
Rotary. I was like, what's a Santa
No,
Rotary?
No, it's like,
Rotary, sorry.
Santa's Rotary.
Right,
Breakfast. Got
the
it, got it.
the North Shore Rotary
That's
Santa
cool.
Breakfast. All the invitation tickets go out through Care Team Liaisons.
Okay.
So it makes us the ability to pop something in our office mail and then go out to students it's quick, right? A 3-day turnaround time from the time the Care Team Liaison asks
Nice.
us for support to when we mail it out the door.
that's amazing.
And the East Side Assistance League, they do something called Operation School Bell, and that gives gift cards and funds to families. And this year they doubled the amount that they allowed us, the vouchers that we could give out,
great.
because we had Care Team Liaisons and it's so efficient.
Right.
So it's it's a really, I think we'll be able to affect more and more change as we really learn how to lean in to this partnership we have at each school.
That's very cool.
That is really cool. Yeah.
So I guess, do you have any success stories? Any sort of, without naming names, but
Yeah, I think there's a couple, 2 fires have happened that
Okay.
I know of this year. And so we were able to, one happened as early as September, and we hadn't opened. Usually we start issuing care funds in October, but we it's a fire. You lost your entire house and everything that was in it.
Yeah.
So the care teams were like, hey, this happened to this family. There are 4 children in this family. What can we do? And so the same day, gift cards went out the door because we buy them in bulk, and then they're at our office and locked up, and then we can get them in the mail lickety split. And that happened similarly with another family whose home was destroyed in a fire.
Wow.
This, I think, end of November. So those are some success stories. The other thing that I just really love is a student kind of advocated for themselves and said, I'd love to be able to participate in the book fair. And I'm seeing all my friends buy books at the book fair, but I can't buy I don't.
Breaks my heart
Right.
as a big book reader. I'm just like, oh.
And yes, we have tons of books in storage that we give out as part of an initiative that we have with school board director Sandy Hayes. But these are new books, and these are books that, so we haven't put anything in place. We weren't quite ready. We kind of missed the boat because the book fair ended the day after.
Right.
But looking for the next book fair to come and say, okay, how can we arrange with the librarian ahead of time to have some books that the foundation can, or let kids
Almost
pick.
like a voucher that they can hand over for the books, because sometimes it's not just about the book, it's about the experience and being able to do exactly as their peers are doing.
Yes.
Sure.
Getting to choose it, and it's fresh, and it's sometimes still in the wrapper, and like all their friends do, and not feel like left out from that experience.
Yeah, so I'm excited to explore more of those kinds of ways that we can help, and again, normalize. I don't normalize, it's a bad word, but
I know what you mean.
Yeah. Their
It's-
peers, they're having an experience that their peers are having.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
That's great.
Wow. I feel like there's just so much that you guys offer and can do, and I'm sure we can have you back on
Probably-
for a whole
I
nother
know, we
conversation.
can talk about it for a long time.
Mhm, yeah.
So,
Okay. Yeah.
all right. So, we love our community where we live and work, and we always want to ask our guests what they love about the community that might be a hidden gem or something that someone might not know about. I know we've had several people on the show, and then afterwards we go visit that spot because we're like, oh yeah, I forgot about that, or
Yeah,
I didn't
there's
know
been
about that.
There's been a few of them. I'm like, what now?
Yeah, so always love to hear about a shop or an experience you had with a local community establishment.
Yeah, I have to say, I was racking my brain because I love, I think this area is so fantastic. And I live just in Mountlake Terrace, so I live
Okay.
really close, but I spent a lot of my working life in Seattle.
Okay.
So I can
Okay.
tell you tons of places in the city of Seattle. But I would say we love the Woodinville Rye. What's the, oh dear.
The whiskey place?
Yeah.
Oh.
We love their rye. We think it's
Okay.
amazing. And so every
Okay.
time we will go to the, it's terrible that I'm not dropping their name right.
That's okay. We'll put it in the video.
That's all right.
Yeah, but that as my husband is a wonderful whiskey drinker. He loves it, and
Okay.
he'd like to be a connoisseur.
So is it the Woodinville Whiskey Company?
Is Woodinville Whiskey? Yeah.
Up by the Woodinville Tavern?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's such a, and going there is such a great experience too, because they make it. It's a really cozy and neat
Yeah,
place.
it is for sure.
I've always wanted to go in. I don't drink whiskey, but I've always, for some reason, there's just something about that place.
The smell is incredible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
I've been
smells
to a
really
few whiskey distilleries in Scotland, and it's like, oh, I wonder if it has that same kind of feel and smell to it.
Definitely has the same kind of smell to
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
It doesn't, it doesn't have the age that some of those distilleries in Scotland have. But I also want to say a couple other things. I want to plug the Woodinville Rep because
Okay.
I was an actor, and I know how hard,
Okay.
and how much they give to the community
Yeah.
and going. And so they didn't pay me to say that. I just know that I want to plug community theater, which is really important.
I think that's important
Yeah,
too.
it is too.
The arts, especially.
Yeah, they just did the Winterfest for us. They were in character for some of the
Oh, they
I
were?
saw that.
yeah,
Yeah,
some
very
of the
cool.
Winterfest people.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
So.
Yeah, they definitely very actively involved in the community.
for sure.
So, Okay, so the
That's a
repertory
good one.
theatre. Yeah.
I like
No,
that.
nobody's done that one yet, so
Yeah.
well done. Yeah, I like it.
And in the summer, if you want the best shake around, you have to go to the Snohomish Pie Company,
Oh,
in
yes,
Malik
I've
Terrace,
heard of them.
which is right next to Double D Meats.
Oh,
And they do pie shakes. So you get a slice of pie
In
of
your
your
shake?
choice inside your shake.
oh my
Oh,
gosh.
wow.
So that when you're drinking it,
Uh-huh.
you
get,
have like little
chunks of-
pieces
So all
of
those people
pie
that
crust.
are on diets
Diets.
right now, it's just salivating.
That I've never heard of that place. That sounds intriguing. That might have to be a field trip.
So I had
Yeah.
I had to plug my hometown.
Oh no,
favorite.
absolutely.
I-
It's all around the community. It's wherever sparks joy and places that you want to share.
And
Basically,
if you don't know Double D Meats, you need to go there too.
I've never heard
And
of
Even,
that.
get a
even just to
shake
wander
next door.
around and look at all
Yeah.
all the
They've got so many spices and
So
different
is
stuff
it
in there.
salsas?
okay? What is Double D Meats?
It's like an
At
old.
first, I thought you meant it was a butcher's shop or
Yeah,
something.
it's a
It is.
butcher
Oh,
shop.
it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Yeah, they've got all kinds of meats in there, and it's just a great experience. It's always busy.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love a good experience. So
Yeah,
Perfect.
It's worth
And
it
then you go next door and get a shake.
Get a shake.
yeah. So you go
before
buy
the
your...
diet starts.
Yes. Or you can have a cheat day.
I have one more plug though.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh
go
yeah.
ahead.
Do
So
it.
the foundation is up for Best of North Shore Nonprofit.
Oh.
So
Congrats.
A lot of
if
people
your
vote for that.
listeners would like to vote for us for Best of Nonprofit, voting starts. So they did the first round of voting. Now the finalists and the voting on the finalists opens on the 18th.
Of December.
Yes,
How long
and
does it go
through
till?
January 8th.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're telling everybody we know to vote for the North Shore Schools Foundation for Best North Shore Nonprofit.
Okay.
Say that
Cool.
6 times fast.
You did well.
I've had tongue twisters on the show before, for sure.
We certainly have.
Myself
yeah.
included.
Yeah, that's great. Well, everyone go out and vote. That's
Go
for
out
sure.
and vote.
Yeah. All right. Well, this has been a fascinating conversation. I feel like we could just talk for hours about this, so we will definitely have you come back. But we're going to take a really quick break, and when we come back, we're going to do our real estate roundup, and then we will also let everybody know where they can find out more information about the North Shore Schools Foundation. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Did you know JB Instant Lawn is more than just sod? We planted seeds of development and now offer a new experience. JB Family Growers is home to the Lavender Farm and Flower Market and the Pumpkin Farm and Puzzle Patch. Acres of beauty to enjoy through your summer and fall. Come check us out right next to Chateau Ste. Michelle at 14063 Northeast 145th Street in Woodinville. We look forward to seeing you there.
Welcome back to TLC 10 Life Community Podcast. We have just finished up a fascinating conversation with Cara from the North Shore Schools Foundation. She is the new executive director and she's going places, I have to tell you. So
Yeah, good stuff going on there.
absolutely. We're still enjoying our wine from Patterson's, but now it's time for our real estate roundup. Troy, are you ready for your question of the week?
Oh, are you going to throw me for a loop this time?
Yep,
or-
absolutely.
Oh, good.
Absolutely. I love it. You know, this
Toss
is
me a fastball.
my revenge.
All right.
I gotta come back more often. This is really fun.
All right, so thinking ahead to the new year, that's a time when people are often evaluating their homes and thinking about how they can enhance their living spaces,
Yeah.
or whether that's giving rooms a refresh, or for some for some people it's thinking about a new place to call home. But let's talk about the refresh portion of this. Refreshing is a great way to breathe new life into a room or the whole house, but budget constraints after holidays are usually something that, well, not usually, they are a factor that hold
Sure.
people back in, from doing all sorts of different projects. But what are some of the simple things that people can do that won't break the bank and that they can enjoy immediately? And then if people then do decide that it's time, to sell a house, may have also a positive impact on how people view their homes.
Sure.
So let's start with shedding some light. Shed some light for us, Troy.
Well, we offer an equity evaluation for free, and it's more comprehensive than what's called a market analysis. And it's whether you're selling your house or not, I will come out and do an equity evaluation for you, show you some things in the house that might need updating, or talk about the upgrades you're thinking about and letting you know if that's going to be the best bang for the buck if you are thinking about selling soon. And also we dive into a little bit of staging, or how to set up your furniture for maximum usability and appeal. And that's free, complimentary, no charge for that. So one of the things you can do that's really, especially in today's environment with LED lighting, is to add some new lighting in areas where you might have an old fixture. You can put in can lights, and they make great can lights now where you can just daisy chain them off of one another. They're the load factor, LED doesn't have the load factor on your electric system that incandescents did. So you can, where there was one light in a room and it might be a little dark, you could add 3 or 4 lights at that point and still have less energy. So, and that's, it's going to bring more light to the room and make the space more inviting. You can also dim them too, so you can create moods if you wanted to do that.
That sounds
yeah.
like a quick and painless fix for because we're in the winter months right now, but I mean this is true for the whole year round, but when you feel lighter and brighter, I think it also helps with mood, and it makes you appreciate your home a little bit more.
I know.
You don't feel like you're living in a cave.
We're turning our lights on at 3 o'clock in the
I know, it's
afternoon. That's crazy.
But I also think, for people who can't move their furniture around, we're talking at the office, and Emily was saying, oh, I like to move my furniture around to get a fresh perspective. And I said, oh, I would love to do that, but really I've figured out the one configuration that works with my interesting sized living room. And so I was thinking adding light would make it feel like, if you can't rearrange the room to make it something different, that light would be a really good way to do that.
So light fixtures or table lights or stand light, any of that just kind of enhance the warmth and invitingness of a room. Okay. All right, so that's lighting. What about paint?
Well, yeah, definitely. You can add an accent wall with either a splash of color. Don't get too wild now, but...
Unless that's your aesthetic and you want to be wild. I mean, we could have zebra print over the wall.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
A lot of people put the wood veneer up that's kind of spaces. It has like vertical lines in it.
So do you mean like the shiplap or the planking? And
Shiplap is popular. Joanne Gaines made that really popular.
Yeah. And then I've seen a lot of them where it almost feels like a frame, like frames on
Yeah,
the wall, and
you can
paint
frame it,
over. So it's like wainscoting, but it's not. It's a bit more of a kind of modern take on it, and okay.
And I think the vast majority of people, a little bit of that goes a long way. So not the whole wall, or not a big wall, but maybe a smaller wall that you want to focus on. I've seen a lot of powder rooms. Bathrooms have some really unique tiles put on the wall or something like that. That's fun.
Right.
Kind of jazz up a small space.
But paint is relatively inexpensive.
Paint is easy.
So it's a great way to do it, and you could paint over it if it looks hideous.
Right.
All right. So what else? What about fixtures?
Yeah, you can update your fixtures too, like kitchen sink, faucet. Upgrade to a new faucet, something like that, or even the hardware on your cabinets. If it's a house that was built in the 70s, and you can spruce up your environment by just adding some hardware, and it's pretty inexpensive to do that.
Yeah, I mean you can get those door pulls and whatnot for a couple of dollars, but also one thing to consider though is making sure that whatever you're taking off and what you're buying is maybe the same, I don't want to say shape, but the holes are going to be in the same place, because the pilot holes are already there. Then you don't have to re-drill your cabinets.
Yeah, if you have single hole pulls, it's easy, but if you have double, then the spacing could be a problem. But
So, anyway,
you can fix that with putty. It's just more work.
Yeah, I know. I want less work, Troy. Less work.
I know. Well,
One step, not 4.
Yes, thank you. What else you got for me?
Well, and I touched on a little bit in our equity evaluation, just reducing some furniture and decluttering the house. I know no one likes to have someone walk in and say, gosh, your house is cluttered. But, I mean, we collect things. If you're like me, you kind of got that stuff just kind of starts growing. You think this looks good, you think that looks good, and then eventually you've got a whole bunch of stuff in a small space. So
yeah, and even if you're not selling, like you can't move things around, but you can declutter. It makes you feel like you've got a whole new space.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So if there's a little more money in the budget, what are we going to do?
Well, I mean, you can do total remodels. Kitchens and bathrooms are probably the most expensive, but
All right, let's scale it down. Not that
paint and carpet is the easiest thing to really kind of brighten up a space. Paint, carpet, and lighting.
Okay. Great.
So,
I think those are all great
and
tips.
you don't have to do the whole house. If you just want, you've got, like me, I live in a 70 split level. If you just want to do the basement, just tackle the basement. Just do
Sometimes a little goes a long way.
Yeah, little goes a long way.
Great.
And so,
well, those are all great tips.
and if you're struggling with what to do, have me out to the house. Like I said, it's complimentary, whether you're selling or not.
Yeah, he doesn't mind.
No, I like open
Yeah.
houses.
It's a great offer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, this has been a wonderful show. So let's start with Cara. If people would like to find out more information about the foundation, or they want to talk to you about potential collaborations or donations or whatever that looks like, how can they best find the foundation and you and your staff to kind of get those conversations going?
Absolutely. We are easy to find. Northshore Schools Foundation.org is our website. I think my picture this week just went up.
Only took 90 days.
I know. One of our volunteers was like, Cara, did you know that you guys haven't? And we're like, oh man, we've been so worried about other things.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
Done that. So I know that Emily was working on the website. But you can absolutely email me too at Cara, C-A-R-A, at Northshore. Nope. Cara at NSD. Foundation.org. So NSD Foundation. So the reason we put the D in there is because there's a North Shore Scholarship Foundation. They're now the Scholarship Foundation of North Shore, but it's been confusing between the two. So we put the D in there so that it was just to make
clarify.
Right. Perfect. So Cara, C-A-R-A, at nsdfoundation.org.
Cool.
And you can come visit us too. We are straight at the top of the stairs in the district administration building.
Okay.
And we have a beautiful little office. And we'd be very happy to have conversations with people and share our space. Come to our house.
Yep. So vote for them, and then any entrepreneurs or businesses out there listening that wants to get involved, hit them up. They can. Everybody needs some help. So yeah, appreciate that. And right, Troy, somebody wants you to come out and take a look at their home, see what little tips or tricks that you can provide, whether it's I don't know,
see if their porch is proper for a porch pounder.
Yes. There you go. Okay. All right. Thank you. How can they contact you, Troy?
Tend, T-E-N-D, hometeam.com is probably the best place to find me. 206-504-3660. Call or text.
Perfect. And if you enjoyed the show, we would love it if you would like, subscribe, and share. And if you're watching on YouTube,
ding the dinger.
There you go. This was another wonderful show. Cara, thanks very much for joining us. Troy, thank you for the wine and keeping us entertained.
Yep.
We'll see everybody next time.
I had a great time. Thank you so much.
We enjoyed having you on. Thank you.
Good. Thank you. All right.
Bye, everybody.
See you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey there, homeowners and home buyers. If you're looking for a real estate team who genuinely cares about your needs, Tend Home Team is here for you. We're not just focused on making sales, but on building long-term relationships with our clients and serving our wonderful community. Whether you're buying or selling, let us guide you through the process and help you achieve your real estate goals. Connect with Tend Home Team today.